Hi, welcome to BONITA'S Kitchen and thank you for joining us. Well, I'm excited today to bring to you one loaf of whole wheat bread. I'm getting lots of messages out there that people is just wanting to make one loaf of that delicious bread, and I'm going to show you that today. So if this interests you, stick around and let's get started.
BONITA'S Kitchen to yours. BONITA'S Kitchen.
So for those of you who have been following us for years, you know we got a full recipe of that delicious homemade whole wheat bread already on BONITA'S Kitchen for you to view. And I've got many messages saying, how can I do one loaf? And I've been just saying after recipe. But today we thought it's time. It's time for us to bring one loaf for you, and you could make just the one loaf, or you could make a whole bunch of buns. That's fine. This recipe I did before by hand. I'm doing it today with my trusty little mixer. That's only just to show you another way. So right now we're going to start proofing our yeast into 1 1/4 cup to 1 1/2 cup of warm water, and I'll show you that. So in my measuring cup I got 1 1/4 cups of warm water, and like you said, if you need a little more, go up to 1 1/2. I got a teaspoonful of traditional yeast. You could use an all fast rising if you don't have that, and that's fine too. We're going to have 1 tablespoonful. I usually eyeball it, but right now in this teaching video I will measure it. So 1 tablespoonful of honey. So I'm going to toss the honey into that warm water and stir it around, and toss in, I'll get the rest of it off, toss in the 1 teaspoonful of the yeast. So we're going to let this proof there for about 5 minutes or so, and I'll show you the next thing. So I got 3 cups of all-purpose whole wheat flour in this mixer, and I got a 1/2 cup here off to the side that we're going to be working through the flour as we mix it while it's the mixing stage, and that will bring it all together. We got a teaspoonful here of melted butter. I'm going to toss this into the flour, and what I'm going to do first is take my spatula and just mix that flour in through, just so it's into the grains. But this is kind of what our elders would do. Most times I just toss it in when I put in the wet ingredients, but whichever way you like to do it, or remember your mom doing it, that's fine. And a 1/2 teaspoonful of sea salt. And I'm using a hook on my mixer here, and if you're doing it by hand, you can also follow the other video, but pretty much that's all you would do is add in those ingredients first. I'm going to toss the salt through that mixture as well, and then when your yeast is proofed, pop it all into the bowl. I'm just going to take out all of that yeast, and then we'll start mixing on that much. So I'm going to put down my hook and start the mixing until it starts to come together, and I'll show you when you'll start tossing in the extra flour. Stop it on that much. You see here that the dough is sticky, and well, it's a little too is more sticky than I want. So what I'll do is start tossing in gradually just a little bit of that flour. If you're mixing this by hand, it's usually 5 to 10 minutes mixing, and you'll do the same. You'll see the texture of your flour. So put down your mixer again and then turn it on. So there's a couple of things you can do here. If you're mixing it by hand and you see that it's still, the mixture is still a little dry and you haven't added in any of the flour, you take just that small dribble of water and just put into it during that mixing stage if you need it. In my case here now, I don't need it. You see that the dough is nice and it's got that elastic feeling. I'm going to just work it now by hand to get the rest of that flour incorporated, and I'll show you what to do next. So this is pretty much what your dough would look like. It's got that nice elastic feeling and it's not sticky on your hands. So I'm going to form this one now into a ball because I want now to put it there for it to rise for about 20 minutes to 30 minutes, and then I'll show you what the next step would be. So before I go and take you into the next step, form it into a ball like this. I usually put the sign across on it on the top of the dough, or you can just do an indent of your knife so you can see that it's double in size when it starts to rise. Cover it with a cloth. That part I would like for you to do because you want to keep it warm. If your kitchen is a little cooler, and that way it will help rise it a little bit more as well. So now I'm going to let mine rise, and I'll show you that when it's done. I'm going to check on that dough to see how it's risen. We got about 5 more minutes left on it. But get yourself a pan, either a 5 by 9 or of course the little pans that I use belong to Raymond's mom. They were a 5 by 8.5. But just put a little glazing of butter or oil on the inside, just to help your bread from sticking. So I'm going to get that dough now and show you what that looks like. First rising on our dough is done, and just look at it, it's absolutely lovely. You see how it's just popping back there? So now a couple of things we can do, and I'm going to explain that to you. So when I say a couple of things you can do, one, you could knead it down now and let it rise for another 30 minutes, and that's usually what I do if you got a little bit extra time. If you don't have extra time, just take the dough out. You could cut it in 3 balls to put into the pan, or you could make one big loaf like this and take your pan that's already greased and put it into. So now what I'm going to do is do it this way and let it rise again for another 20 to 30 minutes, just until it gets up a little bit higher. And then I'm going to pop it into that 350-degree Fahrenheit oven and bake it for 30 minutes to 35 minutes in the center rack. But I'll show you that before we get doing that. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to cover it. But if you want to do another 30 minutes, knead it down and let it rise, that is totally fine as well. But let's let this rise, and I'll show you what that looks like. So after you've let your dough rise for another 20 to 30 minutes covered, it's ready to go in the oven. So again, I'll give you that amount. It's 350 degrees Fahrenheit in the oven for 30 to 35 minutes, and then pull it out, and then I will show you what to do next. So our oven is ready to put our 1 loaf of homemade whole wheat bread in, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and let it bake for 30 to 35 minutes. Toss it in the center rack, and then just let her bake. Our loaf of whole wheat bread is baked. So now let's have a look and pull it out of the oven. Oh my gosh. Smells delicious. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like. So what's next is to take our bread out of the pan. Put that over to the side. Toss it over. Yum. Smells absolutely amazing in here, right, Raymond? And just put a little light coat of butter over the top and around the sides. This will help soften the top, unless you want the top hard. Cover it again with the cloth for a couple of moments, just to soften up the top, and then we're going to cut into it. Of course, if you've seen us in other bread recipes, you know we don't have very much patience for waiting for the bread to rest. We always say,
You're telling stories on.
well, we always say that we want for the bread to rest, but you know, it don't rest very long. I'm going to cut into this delicious loaf of bread. I got some molasses here off to the side, butter, and some gifted raspberry homemade jam. And like you said, you could use whatever. I'm going to have a nice big chunk there, Raymond. Just look. Now just look at the inside of this bread. I'm going to cut into one more piece here. Use a serrated knife to cut your bread. And like you said, preferably wait until it comes to room temperature, but if you can't wait, just look at the texture of this delicious bread. Now I'm going to butter it and have it with some molasses, like my dad. So now Raymond, I'm going to butter up this bread here for us while it's nice and warm. And I'm going to have the eel of the bread, which is the first piece. I'm having molasses on mine. Just looking, that's why my dad used to have it straight out of the oven. So nice.
I'm going to be having jam.
You're going to be having a nice heaping amount of jam on that. Now just look. Too good to eat, isn't it? Now I'm going to have a taste because I cannot wait for you guys to make this. I'm going to say one of my favorite parts is having a taste of whatever we're making. But of course I love showing you how to make these breads because breads is my favorite as well. I'm going to have a little taste with that molasses. Drop the bread, delicious. So tasty. And the texture of that bread with the molasses, yum. I'm going to try to finish this bread in my mouth and not talk with it full. I can't wait for you to make this one loaf of homemade whole wheat bread. Like I said, we're getting lots of messages from you guys saying you just want one loaf, and I understand totally. That's all I make when we're ready to have some. I'll leave the recipe down in under this video. Certainly follow along with this tutorial video, and you could look at the big video with 3 loaves of bread. So this is it. It's as good as it gets. If you can't find a recipe in under this video, for some reason, you can send me an email at bonita'skitchen@gmail.com. Visit our website, www.bonita'skitchen.com, and you can print it out there. You can also join our newsletter to get up-to-date recipes, and as well here on YouTube. Before I go, I'd like to do a big shout out to our paid members. Thank you so much for supporting Bonita's Kitchen. We do appreciate it. And as well, all of our subscribers to date, and we welcome new subscribers. Thank you all so much from the bottom of our hearts for supporting Bonita's Kitchen. So now, I'm not going to take any more of your time. We do know it's precious. So on behalf of myself,
and me, of course,
Raymond, and our team, and from our kitchen to yours,
you have a wonderful day. Toodaloo.
Join us by the sea, a journey in culinary, always an open door. Bonita's Kitchen to yours. Bonita's Kitchen, to yours.